Hey, good morning guys. Welcome back to the channel. Jared at 3C's Recreation. Today we're going to give you a review on the Pulsar 9500 watt inverter generator. This is a dual fuel generator. Not too long ago we did a review on the Predator 9500 watt as well. Some differences between these two generators and also some more features on this one. So let's jump into this video. We're going to unbox it. We're going to start it. I don't have a lot to hook up to it today to actually give you some runtime stuff, but let's at least start it for the first time. We'll hear it run. We'll go through the motions of putting oil in this thing. Real quick, if you do buy one of these, this is from my friend Adam. It was shipped right to his house, but it did come on a truck. So if you're buying one, you do have to have some sort of tractor with pallet forks to get this off the truck. It does come up on a pallet, which was nice because this thing does weigh like 244 pounds. So it's not something you're just gonna pick off the truck by yourself. I doubt the truck driver is going to help you with that. So shipping looked like it managed it pretty well. It came to him, had the bands on it. We'll cut those off here in a second. And it's kind of funny on here. I'll show you. Let's bring you guys in and check this thing out. We'll kind of read through the box together. It is super quiet. It's a 62 dBA, which I think is awesome. One of the benefits that this does have that the Predator does not is the remote start feature. So we'll keep an eye on that. We're going to try that here in a little bit. The Predator does have the electric start, and then they both do have, and they must be like the recoil, yeah, the recoil right there, so you can pull start these as well. And this one is a dual fuel. So we have both gas and propane. And you have to be careful when you're reading these boxes because 9500 watt is your peak watts. This is for starting. So when a freezer initially kicks on, or your microwave initially kicks on, it's going to pull more power initially, and it's going to drop down to more of a run time. So that's why they always give you like a 9500 peak. So it's going to overcome that initial start, and then it's going to smoothen out and only want to pull 7600 rated watts continuously. I did a bunch of reading last couple nights, and let's say like a standard water tank, I think it said somewhere around 4,000 peak watts. So for Adam, in his case, this generator is just going to be for his house. Because it's funny down here, they say like, oh, ideal for RV and tailgating, which you better be bringing like a trailer with a drop-down ramp, or your camper must be a toy hauler of some sort to really make that work. I don't see that being fun to drag this around the country. But that does bring us down to these. So we do have 4 120 volt outlets, which is nice. That's quite a few. Obviously in a second we'll unpackage this thing and you'll see it better. But where this kind of separates itself from the Predator is that this has one 30 amp outlet, and then it does have one 50 amp outlet. So for you folks with the bigger campers that have like 2 air conditioners on top, a lot of you need 50 amp outlet to run both of those at the same time. Smaller RVs or travel trailers, usually like a 30 amp is all you need for that. And this does have that parallel ready kit, so which is wild because it's already 9500 watt. I was on Pulsar's website, and they do make up to 15,000 watt. Again, those are going to be more of a permanent at your house type generator. And that's what Adam's going to do with this. He's already got his house ready for it. I'll put a picture in here now, just kind of showing what he's got ready on the side of the electrical panel for it. And so a couple of features that separate this one is going to be the remote start and the 50 amp outlet compared to the Predator. It does say it has run flat wheels, so we'll pop this thing out of the crate. It's got the handles to cart it around. They do not come with oil in them, so we do need to add oil. And let's see, let's just kind of give it a quick walk around before we unbox it. Like I said, our shipping, it was good for him. I hope that if you buy one, you don't have any shipping issues, because you never know anymore with shipping. Looks like this one is kind of tangled up, but it didn't affect the packaging at all. So let's start cutting this thing open and we'll go from there. All right, so I got the 4 sides of the cardboard laid down. Looks like it made shipping pretty well. And kind of get a sneak peek in here at the control panel. Look at all that stuff going on. Ton of stuff in there. Got the handles that we'll raise up here in a minute. But let's kind of look on this side first. Oh, here's the manual right here. So we've got the manual and the remote, which is kind of funny. I thought it'd be like in some sort of cardboard. needs oil before we start it. I understand that. A little bit of like a shipping rub right there, but that's not a big deal. And there should be oil with this thing somewhere. Maybe they've got it hidden behind the cover. Sometimes, oh, hold on. Let's see. There's a box under here. So I didn't want to roll it off of this before I checked underneath it here. So, oh, here's the oil right here. So, premium 4-cycle engine oil. Oh, it is a 10W30. Okay, so this is our oil. I think I can safely roll this off of here. This does feel like a cardboard box here as well. So I'll be careful not to roll over that. I can't get it out because on this side, it's blocked off by wood there. So can't be very thick of a box if there is one. I'm just gonna wheel this thing straight off the side and we'll fill it with oil. Okay, so final packaging count was 1 quart of oil, a box with some plugs, a funnel, and some tools. And then this is that propane hookup. So this was also inside of the packaging that came with it. So first initial walk around. So these 2 side panels are going to come off. It's an 8mm. We'll take that off in a second to have a look under this side. There is a battery that we have to hook up on this thing as well. And these are the handles that I used to pull it off the cart. And I think if I just, that'll set it back down. Kind of have a quick look at the controls. I haven't read about it yet, but this is our display. It's going to give us hours, voltage, and load, which is cool. That's cool to see the load, where you're at. Our main switch off and on. It's obviously on to start it in a little bit. Start it, we're going to hit that and hold in. That looks identical to the Predator as far as the design of that button. Our low idle, this is what makes it an inverter, is you can flick this into low idle. So if you're simply just running like one item, it's not pulling the full load of this generator. It'll quiet it way down. So if you're at a campground or you are tailgating, or if it's at the side of your house, you can idle this thing way down. This is our fuel on-off switch. So we have gas off and then propane connector here. I don't have propane. It's middle of the winter. It's in my camper, which is tucked away. Otherwise, we would hook up to that as well. I'll show you the hose a little bit better here in a minute. What do we got here? So this is our 30 amp plug, which is going to be most of the campers, I would assume. They are nice and weather tight, so it does click in nicely. I'm not sure if my Predator clicks in quite that nice. This is that big 50 amp, which I'm sure some of you guys, if you're buying something this big, you want that. And after I just bragged about it, okay, there we go. Covers it nicely there. And then these are the 4 standard outlets, 120. And there is a switch up here, so we can go 120 only, which if you're just running these over here, it is going to give more power and cleaner to this side. If you are going to switch over and use some of the bigger stuff, you can flick it down and also use that. There is a circuit breaker to protect the unit. Parallel, so if you do buy a second unit and you buy the kit, you can parallel them. And usually there's like a grounding rod, let's see. Do not connect or disconnect parallel cables while the unit is running, okay. Oh, this also has that carbon monoxide sensor in it. So if this unit recognizes a certain level of carbon monoxide, it will shut itself off. It has 2 modes. It has like a yellow and a red. The red means it's completely off, and then yellow means it's getting high. So we need to, it'll shut itself off and it won't let you restart it for a few minutes, which is cool. It's if it's next to the window, which you shouldn't because the directions say how to point it, how far away you need to put it from the house. So that's cool that they have that. Nobody wants to get hurt, especially camping. You're passed out for the night. You don't know what's going on. So we'll walk around this side. We'll cut the directions off, or owner's manual, in a minute. I did download these. I've already kind of read through them a couple times. And then this is, looks like it must be for packaging. Just to protect the switches here, start and stop. Okay, it's Velcro. I was like, how do I get that off there? So that'll come off. We'll take this panel off in a second. Looks like this is the oil fill side. Yeah, okay, because this little plug is going to come out. And then here's our recoil. So let's grab an 8mm. Actually, let's check out the exhaust side real quick too. So nothing there except the exhaust. This is going to be pointed away from you guys. You do have a standard fuel gauge on top, and this is where, 6.9. This is where you're going to fill it. And the owner's manual says 6.5. Interesting. So fuel level, fuel fill. What does that look like? Okay, cool. It's got this screen in there. I think it's pretty much standard at this point. So a nice little screen to protect, you know, if your gas can, if you're out camping, there's grass or dirt on it, it'll protect the unit. So then you can just get it out of there. So we can start with the oil side first. I always like to do oil first. Again, this is just an 8mm. This side does have the recoil in it, so I'm not going to be able to take this panel off and completely move it. Let's get those out of the way. Let's see how far we can move this. So you can see that recoil rope obviously is going to restrict how far we go. If I just pull it out just a little bit. Thing's got a huge motor. It's like 490 some cc's. And let's have a look in here. So the air filter must be on the other side because I don't conveniently see it in here. So here's our oil fill, and here's our drain bolt here. And what's cool with these is they give you these knockouts. So this can come out so you can get your wrench straight in to drain that oil there. And then they also have a knockout down here. Just push it out. And this lets the oil drain out into a bin. So you can see I just made that hole there. And it has like a built-in like catch right here, so a built-in funnel. It's going to grab all that oil and then shove it down out this hole. My gimbal won't go any lower, but you could slide your drain pan under here, and then you can just reinstall your 2 plugs afterwards. So there should not be any oil on this thing in transit. And like all generators, you basically, well, you want to put it on a flat surface first, but you want to fill it basically to the bottom of these threads. I think the directions on this one said to leave it like 2 or 3 threads down from the top here. So I'm going to grab the funnel and I'll grab the oil and we'll fill this thing up. So I brought over one of our oil absorbent rags to kind of put into there, protect it. I'm not going to use Adam's funnel because I don't want to get it dirty to take it to him. So I have our shop funnel. I think it's going to fit in there nicely. And I did bring the directions over just to show you guys. So kind of like I thought, 1 to 2 threads from running on the fill of oil, kind of on my thumb right here. So I'm reading that. So 10W30 is what it came with. And that's the first thing we do to this thing. So what I'm going to do, does it say CC wise how many? I was hoping to just have an idea. It does not say. So maybe in the initial page of this it does, but we're just going to start throwing some oil in it and see how far up it comes. Well, it's kind of interesting. I just read the directions here, or I read the spec sheet. And right here it says engine oil capacity is 1.1 or 37 fluid ounces, which is liters, but ounces is not. But right here it only comes with 34 fluid ounces. So maybe there's already some oil in it, some residual. So I think I can dump the majority of this in here without an issue. So I'm going to do that first and we'll go from there. Alright, so I just went ahead and put the full quart in it right off the bat. Nothing's leaking out a little bit because my funnel doesn't fit perfectly, but let this drain for another second here. And I have to see if I better add some more oil to it or not. Just kind of leave this in there. Doesn't quite show it up on the bottom there, which is kind of a bummer. So I'm going to grab some more 10W30 oil. We have plenty of that here at the shop, but man, I wish they would have given you enough to do the job. So it is so close. I think it's right there. Yeah, I guess it's there. It's at this, it's maybe 3 or 4 threads down rather than being 2 threads down. And this thing is completely dry. So I better do it right. So I'm just going to grab a splash of 10W30 and we're going to throw just a little bit more in there. So I don't have the Pulsar brand here obviously, but I have this Maxima 10W30 that goes in all of our machines here at the shop. It's a good product. I'm not going to put much in. It probably doesn't need hardly anything. I just don't want to, I don't want to do this video and not do it right. So probably doesn't need much. Maybe that was too much. We'll see. But for the sake of the video and you guys at home doing this, I think it's important to do it right. And let's go back in here and see where it's at. So yeah, okay, cool. You know, so maybe I'm being super picky. It might not have needed anything. I barely put a splash in there, but I feel better about it. So that's cleaned up, and it's right there. So it's right where it needs to be. I'm gonna wipe this up good. I'm gonna reinstall these plugs that I took out to show you guys. So I'm gonna put these back in now. Didn't need to take them out, just wanted to showcase it. And maybe I should check that drain plug, make sure that that's torqued down too. So before I reinstall this one, I'm just gonna put a wrench on that just to make sure it is as tight as they say it is. I don't like to leave things to chance. I'm gonna check that. I think it's like a 13 or a 14. So that wraps up the oil portion. That was super tight. It didn't need it, but hey, I'm not gonna go to a campground with it and let it run for 10 hours without checking that. Oil is good. So the side's pretty boring, pretty much wrapped up. It just has these tabs that slide up into these, slots here. There's 3 of them across the top. So I'm gonna rotate it in, push it in. I'm gonna put my 3 screws back in. You got the nut certs right in the plastic here. So let's get those in next. With that all tight, I will cut this off here next. Oh, it's just a band, so I can just do this with it. Just take it right off around the outside of it. So now we've got oil in it. It will not start with the electric start until we go to the other side and hook our battery up. So let's go to the other side and we'll check that out. Okay, we're gonna move the other side now, and there's the same 3 looking screws in the bottom. It's kind of cool. Access panel says they're twisties. That's not true. You gotta use an actual wrench. This is the battery compartment behind here. Air filter, they want you to service every 50 hours. That's kind of cool. They give you the spark plug part number in 3 different brands. That's kind of wild. So, oh, 4. That's just, at top would be NGK, and then 3 other brands. So, and they give you the gap of it too. So, I will pull this off the side here and see what we have behind here. All right, so we just got the panel off this side, and spark plug is super easy to get to on this one. Right there in the middle, pull the cap off, twist it out, put it back in. That seems super straightforward. Air filter looks miserable to get to because it's gonna come out this side of it. So there's really no room in here. I can feel at the bottom the clip. So you'd have to unclip it out of there. I'm not even gonna try to take this out. So there's a clip you're gonna push down on the bottom to let this cover rotate off and out. And at the top, it just like rotates out of this housing right here. So unclip it, rotate it out, pull it out, and then somehow get the actual air filter element out. But that one is gonna be tough. Like I can barely fit my fingers in there. And that housing goes a long ways back there. It goes pretty deep. So that's your air filter in a nutshell. And that's gonna be pretty hard to get out. This is the battery. Oh, it's already hooked up. Let's see. So negative and positive. Oh, I see. It's got the quick connect. So let's find the other end of that real quick. So battery is hooked up. I'm hoping it's just, okay, simple. So it's just a simple connector here. We're just gonna throw it together. And is it color coded on this side of it? Yeah, okay, good. So red on top, red on top. You can't mess that up. It's a male and female plug. Kind of tuck it up nicely. So it's got I guess it moves around a little bit, but there's a strap holding this down on both sides. You just undo the strap if you want to take it out. It comes right off the side here. You can put it right back on the clip. So the battery would come out easy if you need it to. Not sure how charged. I always get nervous with these little batteries. How long has this thing been in transit? How long has it been sitting? So hopefully this battery has enough juice in it to start it. My recommendation at home would probably be to trickle charge this battery right from the get-go so you know it's good. And that's pretty much all I have to do on this side is just hook the battery up. It's kind of cool in the back of these panels, they're all foam. So try to help with reduce the noise to them. So I'm gonna put this panel back on and we'll get some gas in this thing. With our panels on, I think the last thing to do is to put gasoline in this thing. We'll switch the gas or the off switch to gas, and then we'll take this thing outside and try to start it up. So I just put 2.5 gallons of gas in it, and the gas meter is showing about half a tank now. So It's pretty accurate. Maybe I put closer to 3 gallons, so it's looking pretty good there with fuel. So let's get this thing outside and we'll give it a first start. Alright, so I wanted to film me bringing it outside so you guys knew I haven't tried to start this thing yet. Let's get this thing to focus a little bit better here. Here we go. So we have to turn the low idle off. We can't have that on an initial startup. And I do use microphones here at the shop, so I don't know how it'll sound when I start it. Sometimes with these mics, engines make it sound worse or whatever. So turn the main switch on. Whoa, check that out. I wish it would focus a little better. Here we go. Hours is 0, voltage, power, load. That is so wild. That's awesome. That's a cool screen on this thing. So we're gonna flip it to gasoline. Pretty stiff switch, but it went okay. And so now we're just gonna hit the start button. I like to pull start things. So let me try to pull start it first. Let me grab this. Set you guys back up here real quick. I'm gonna try to pull start this thing. Let's see what happens with it. So it's on. Let's just see what happens here. So I was honestly giving it one quick pull just to see like how it felt. I wasn't even pulling on it. I was like just trying to get a feel for the compression of the motor, and it fired up already. That's wild. So let's go check out that screen. I'm talking over here because I'm not sure if you're gonna hear me over here. So I just flicked the switch from full run to just idle. I put it in the inverter mode, I guess we'll call it. So now if I actually plugged something into it, it would kick it up. And I'll plug something in here in a minute just to hear it kick up a little bit. But I really wanted to try this remote start too. So I don't know if it already comes with a battery. Oh, it has a stop in it. Let's do this. Get further away from this thing. Oh, heck yeah. Didn't even have to. Sometimes you gotta pair these things together. So it already has batteries in it. I have not opened it. Looks like there's 2 Phillips screws in the back. I'm assuming it's like one of those nickel style batteries. So last night when I read the directions, it said hold it down for like 1 second. So let's see. Wow, that starts really well. I'm pretty impressed. We're gonna challenge it. Let's see. I'm not sure if you guys can still hear it. The sun's gonna be right in the camera lens because it's peeking over the building now. So the generator is still on. Let's see, our building's 130 feet long. And I'm guessing I'm 50, 60 feet away from it now. Pretty far away, so if you're in your camper, that's plenty far enough. You'd have to have a long cord anyway. Ready? Turn it off. Oh, it just turned off. Or it's winding down. It's such a big motor that it takes a second for it to turn off. I'll wait for that semi to roll by on the expressway over here. Alright, let's give this thing a start. Ready? That is so cool. It just started. Yeah, that's wild. Okay, well, so the remote works really well. It has like a Velcro band. You can wrap it around your wrist or maybe just around the camper. You don't need to carry that around with you. But remote works really well on this thing. I didn't have to pair it. That's pretty wild. The last way to start it, I wanted to show you guys real quick, is just by hitting this button. So I'm going to turn the idle off, so it's supposed to be off. And so I'm gonna hit, I think I'm gonna hold down on it to start this real quick. So we started it all three ways. So we've got the recoil, we've got this, and now we're gonna try it this way. Let's see what happens here. I'm gonna let it warm up for a minute, and then I'm gonna find something to plug into this thing. So while that's outside warming up, I put the remote back in the box for Adam with his connectors, but I wanted to show you the propane hookup. So this just threads into the actual generator itself. Then they always say to use soapy water. So when you connect this, just spray with soapy water, look for bubbles. And then this is the propane tank side, which you guys should be pretty familiar with. If I can get my hands to work here. So it's pretty straightforward. Then it screws straight into the propane tank. So I don't know, maybe like a 2 or 3 feet cable there, but that's the propane side of things, which we're not gonna do. I don't have the propane tank out. It's like 24 degrees outside this morning. So there's that, and I will find something now to plug into this thing. So I don't have a lot here at the shop that I can plug into this thing. I don't have my mini air compressor here. That would probably have been perfect. But what I will plug into it is this. We use this all day long here at the shop. It's got 2 modes. It's got 4 horse or 8. So you can, this is what I use to dry machines off with. So when we wash stuff for customers, this thing puts out a massive amount of air. It's kind of like having an air jazzer, but just way more powerful, and it's specific for it. So if somebody's coming to buy a new unit, we always, rinse it off, wash it for them, and then I blow it off with this thing. This thing works so good. It's got so much power behind it. So I think this is probably going to give me the most trouble as far as like you're going to hear it kick on the most. So let's take this thing outside. It's been running for 5-6 minutes now. It's got a pretty long cord on it. I'll try to get away from it just a little bit, and we'll start this thing up. Okay, we're going to go over, plug this thing in. Again, I'm not sure what the volume's going to do with the mic here, so. It's gonna get kind of tricky, so I can't let go of this thing. So I just flicked it back and forth. I went from both sides being on, so max power, back down to one side, so less power, and then back up and down a couple times. And you can see how it's pulling more power on the far right screen there. So that's pretty cool. So let's shut this thing off here. Alright guys, that was our build and review of the Pulsar, super long name, PGD95BiSCO inverter generator. So 9,500 watt, that should just be what we say. So that is the Pulsar generator. It is $300 less than the Predator, comes with remote start, comes with dual fuel, and it has the 50 amp plug. So I think there's a lot of benefits to this one. Thank you guys for watching. If you found it helpful, please consider subscribing to our channel. Have a great day and enjoy the ride.